Peter is both eating breakfast and taking phone calls. Who says that men can't multitask? Good morning, Peter.
Good morning, world.
Good morning, world. Now, a little chap said good morning, world. The name is actually called. Harrison, which Harrison do we think that is? It's not Harrison Ford, is it?
Bomber Harrison.
Oh,
Bomb
right.
the Germans.
Right. Mountbatten is after his great-grandfather. And Windsor is the family name, which they adopted. Yeah. So Archie, Harrison, Mountbatten, Windsor, and
could you go over the Harrison again, please? Because you froze.
Harrison.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's good. And we have from Stoke. Waiting for a thumbs up while he drinks his coffee. All right. Okay. Good morning, Stephen.
Morning, gents. How are we?
We're good. We're just talking about Archie, Harrison, Mountbatten, Windsor.
And next?
You're not a royalist, are you? No. Okay. Don't have to be.
No, it's true. True.
Right. This is Blabbing for Britain, episode 176. Not sure about John. He was poorly earlier in the week, so he may or may not join us. If you're not feeling too hot today, my friend, then take it easy, and rest is the best cure. Right. Okay. Now, over to our history correspondent. Southend has a burial site which is the UK's answer to Tutankhamun. I hope I pronounced that right.
Mm.
Now, this is the discovery of a burial chamber which has been preserved.
What has it been? Preserved?
Preserved, yeah. Well, they've been able to do a dig in true Time Team tradition, and they've discovered remains. Claire's got some information. All right, okay. Yeah, they've found objects that are nearly as old as the pyramids.
Really?
Yeah, you're gonna have to. I'll get a link for that later. Obviously, it's a fascinating story. If you, okay, all right, and we're joined by Claire, and Claire is saying, "Morning all. That's interesting. I've had to switch screens, and B4B restarted each time, so I'm definitely a couple of minutes behind live." Okay, they're experimenting again. Facebook, something going on.
Okay, yeah. Well, hey, Facebook's really experimenting just now because they're going to make everything private by the looks of it.
They're going to make more.
Tell us more, Peter.
Well, according to what I was noticing yesterday, things are going to be more private, and I don't know really what they meant by it, because I'll tell you what, as businesses, we may have to look for an alternative source to advertise, because you're not getting the same likes, you're not getting the same shares. The only way you're really going to be able to get in front of the masses is by putting money from your wallet into their wallet.
But that's a fundamental thing. You're not getting in front of the masses with Facebook. You're getting in front of a targeted audience, one that you specify that you want to meet up with or advertise to, I suppose. And as they've always said, they're going to make it's privacy rather than putting your stuff out there or giving you access to things. Mm-hmm. So I think I think Facebook will be along for a few years yet, and it's not as doom and gloom as you're saying, mate. I think.
No, well, I'll tell you what, they've lost 70 billion. The parent company have lost $70 billion recently.
In market cap.
Yeah.
You know that Apple have lost half of their value in market cap, since probably Christmas, I don't know. But they were the first $1 trillion company.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're, in quotes, only, in quotes, worth $500 million. So 50% of the value of the company is buggered off. It came quite, I think they built up quite leisurely towards $1 billion, but they've lost half their market value. I'll just check that actually. But yes, the
that's because of me changing to Android.
Pardon?
That's because I've changed to Android.
It's all your fault, mate. It's all your fault.
Morning, John.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Because after the battery carry on, I don't trust them anymore.
I'm going to try
here
again.
he
Morning,
is.
John.
Good morning. I can hear you.
Good.
Okay.
Okay, we're good.
Did you just say you don't trust Samsung anymore?
No, Apple. Because they actually, remember, they deliberately made the battery not last longer.
I do love you being back, mate. I really do, because I can just bat against these outrageous accusations of yours all day long. It's wonderful.
No,
Welcome
when
back.
I went back with my battery, they said, oh yeah, and they said they're going to give me my money back. I'm not sure if I got the money back yet, you know. So no, I've just went to Android now. Next tab, I'll be buying a tab next.
The Galaxy tab.
Yeah.
Are you going to buy the Fold?
No.
You can't. They've been withdrawn.
If you remember the exploding batteries, Samsung said, we will never make a product available without it being absolute blah, blah, blah. And then they sent out the Galaxy Fold to some journos. Yeah. And within a day, they've broken. And that you're talking about billions of pounds of investment to get that piece of kit. And it's not going to come out anytime soon.
Well, the thing is, at least they're investing in new things.
Oh, what's that mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? At least it means they're investing. Of course, everybody's investing. It just happens to be that they invested in the Galaxy Fold, and it broke within a day.
Yeah. I noticed it.
They were prototypes. Let's be fair.
No, they weren't. They were not prototypes. That was going out to the clients in about. Oh God! It would be about. It was a week before. A week before the launch.
You were shaking your head when I was mentioning the tab, John. Why?
I think it's expensive. I think you can do better for less money.
Like what?
Well,
the Google Pixel
Zeus tab, which is spec-wise identical to an iPad, but 2/3 of the price of a.
What's the name of it?
And there's
what's the name of it?
ASUS. But that's something I can send you some links if you want to buy a tablet.
Yeah, to go tablet. Now I don't know if Stephen can hear us, but he's frozen again.
He's moving for me.
He's frozen here.
He's waving his hands like this.
No,
yeah,
it's really like that, but you know.
No, he's fixed to me. He's just fixed. Looking at me.
Scratching his nose now.
So you can't hear me, Peter.
I'm just telling you from my end. No, the thing is, John, I tried this morning. My Bluetooth, I can't get it on Windows 10. My Wi-Fi, it's getting a red signal where I'm sitting, so that's gone. Phone's got a hotspot, but it's not connecting to my Windows 10. I hate Windows 10. Hate them.
It's not Windows 10.
What is it then?
It's the driver for the Bluetooth, which is supplied by the people who supplied the Bluetooth chips.
For the Windows 10.
Yeah.
So how do you sort it?
You put it in the bin and you buy an iPhone and a Mac and an iPad.
Right.
Okay. The Apple versus anything else war is going to continue to the end of time.
Yeah,
if you just stay with tech, just segue for a moment. And this I found most surprising.
John, how do you fix it?
Peter, don't do that. The boss is on. Don't interrupt him.
I'll talk to you after this. Okay.
Okay. This is live. Could you ask Peter if he can't hear me to refresh, please?
Peter, refresh.
Pete, please refresh.
Right.
Right. So we're now.
You know that English shrug?
It's this
It's
walk
just
on the board in
Scottish.
Luddites, isn't it?
Oh dear.
And we'll try again. Okay. Peter.
Yes.
Good.
I can't see him.
Right. Now, this next. Tish is saying she can see us just fine. Good. This next bit surprised me. Some things do. Given that we're talking about technology, and technology is all around us, computing in UK schools is in steep decline. I'll give you the background to this. There were 140,000 people who actually got their certificates last year, only 130,000 this year. So the number of people who are actually studying computing at school is dropping, which seems the wrong way about, doesn't it?
Well,
I mean, yeah, sorry, John.
My lad has 2 A-levels in ICT.
Yeah.
Did it as a dual topic at sixth form college.
Right.
He's never been able to get a job in ICT, even with 2 A-levels. There's no jobs.
No.
So people are studying topics that might lead to them to getting a job.
Okay.
Like.
History. Archaeology.
True. Yes. Okay. So we feel that people do people need to study computing?
It's a question of how are you defining computing? You know, are you
By
talking
the
about
curriculum set by the education boards.
Yeah, I don't know what the curriculum is. I know that in universities there's a huge debate about what the curriculum is. They don't have curriculums, do they? They have awards. But to be able to open a PowerPoint or write a Word document ain't computing for me. It goes to all sort of what's the architecture, what's it all about, where did it come from, and then pick a specialism, whether that's programming, whether it's networking, whether it's database design, and all sorts of things come under this heading of computing, and it's not helpful when you're trying to work out whether there is a decline. There may be a decline in teaching how to use PowerPoint, but there may be a huge rise in developers, and then you get my area of low code development. You don't need to be a quote programmer. You just need to have business expertise and use the tools that are around to build apps. So I think it's how you define the word about what these people are saying. Okay,
just a segue for a moment. Claire is saying she's got Groundhog Day going on. Okay. It's definitely happening. She checks in a different window, and if you click the Blabbing for Britain link, it starts from the beginning. Can we check that?
Well, Liverpool win the European Champions Cup, Claire, and the Tories. All
right, let's change the topic.
In the election.
Right, apologies, Peter, just for a minute, because this is enormous. I mean, we thought Liverpool getting 4 was good, but to be joined by Spurs, it's the comeback kids all over again. Will you be watching the final?
No.
No?
No.
It's North versus South.
It's not Stoke.
We're in the middle, aren't we? So we don't give a monkey.
But it's a celebration of British football.
No, it's not. It's an indictment of British football.
How so?
Where we are in the World League. Oops.
I would like to celebrate the fact that Tottenham and Liverpool are in the Champions League final, even if nobody else does. Okay. Right. Okay.
You're okay though, aren't you, Stephen, with Burnley?
Oh, we're fine. Yeah, we've finished 3 from. Well, we were safe, and we're here for next season, and that's what we're all about. And right. Okay. And Claire saying she's heard about the computing as well. I was very surprised. Thought it would be a growing market since we're supposedly in the forefront of new tech. Okay, now we just heard reasons why that may not be totally relevant. Strangely today, I don't know whether it's because I showed a picture of Archie at the beginning of the show, but we're getting a big audience today. Could be.
Better be on my best behaviour then.
We're on radio too, Peter, so don't forget
Okay,
that
can I
one
ask
either.
a question? What do you see in my background now?
You are now technically a man in black.
That's good. I actually removed the picture, so it may have been using resources. So I took a picture off. No. See how that goes. So do we know why they come up with the name Archie?
Do we have a backstory on this? Does anybody who's watching know why Archie was chosen? Okay, right. Okay, so we can't talk about football.
But we can talk about Archie not going to be given a title.
We've got divided opinions. We've got royalists and anti-royalists. Okay, let's talk about something non-contentious. How did you vote last? Not how did you vote? Did you vote last week?
Yes.
No, because there's no votes in Scotland.
Right. Okay. There were no votes in Wiltshire either, because we're a shire county. But it just beggars belief that the result of losing 133,000. Sorry, how many councillors did she lose?
1,300.
1,300 councillors. It means she's got to finish Brexit off.
Well,
and Corbyn too. He's not much better. I mean, they both said we've got to sort Brexit out.
That's not quite true. He's not as bad for sure. They only lost about 100, I think. But I think it's a plague on both their houses. Hey, hold on. You Liberals did all right, didn't you?
Pretty good, really.
Yeah, over 700 new councillors.
So only a protest vote, the Liberals, throw them a bone for now and then.
The Liberals always do well in local elections.
Yeah.
We'll celebrate it.
Because the Liberals are good at local councillors. What we're not so good at is members of Parliament.
Yeah. Do you know, I've got a Liberal councillor in my area. He stays a few doors from me, and he's a great guy. Hasn't worked a day in his life, but a great guy.
Damned with faint praise. Poor chap. Don't name him Peter. I mean, but that was oh dear. And say good morning to Kelly. And Claire is saying she town and district votes last week. Okay. Oh, priceless. So local elections have no bearing on national elections.
But the big one is the 23rd of May. That's going to be really interesting to see the gauge of the country. This isn't going to be a vote for Europe in its true sense. It's going to be a vote for how the country feels at the moment. And it's going to be fun. And you're going to get independents in. You're going to get UKIP in. You're going to get a smattering of maybe Liberals in. And it's going to be very, very interesting to see the mood of the country. And I've got to say, I really would like seeing Nigel Farage getting in, right? Him personally, because I would just love to watch his first speech in the European Parliament.
He's been making speeches and getting paid for years.
Yes, well, that was his job, and he didn't lie of what he wanted to be there for to get out there. But I would love to see his first speech live and say, "Pop, here I am. I'm back to plague you."
Right, and the sound of reason. Claire is saying the 2016 vote was a protest vote against austerity, so on that basis, cancel
Well,
Brexit.
you know my answer to that.
Yes, I know, but you're outvoted 2-1, thank God.
Well, that's why I've wanted shows like this. So all the listeners of the United World Radio, or whatever it's called, is that what it's called? Yeah. Yep. What's the name of it again?
Live Video Hub Radio now.
Live Video Hub Radio. I've got to come up here because otherwise you would hear an echo chamber That's all you would hear. I'm here to keep them right.
Okay.
Lost his,
John's frozen.
lost his head again.
Oh, he's okay. He's still there.
Okay, I'll read.
Right, just a background to this. We voted in 2016 to leave the EU. We're still there. Crunch date is 31st of October this year, which means that on the 22nd of May, we have to hold elections in the UK to vote into place 73 members of the European Parliament. And we lost Peter now. Now he's coming back. And basically, it's done on a district basis, and there are so many MPs for each particular district. I think we've got 5 down here in Wiltshire, something like that. And it's gonna be different, I think is the word I would use. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. We do know that the Brexit party is coming from nowhere. We know that the UK, what's it called, John? The new party that.
Well, we don't know. They keep changing it every day.
Yeah, but they're in there too, and the Lib Dems are in there too, and the Conservatives are in there too.
Is that the one with Anna Soubry?
It is, yeah.
It's called the Don't Bother Voting for Us party.
Oh, you're on form this morning, Peter. Oh dear. So we've got another set of elections, 22nd of May. We'll be here on the day itself to encourage you to go out and vote. And it has, well, lots could happen between now and then. You never know. You never know what's going to happen.
I think Mrs. May could be toppled by then, because behind the scenes, the European Union does not want us to vote in MEPs if we're leaving.
Well, no.
The carnage.
Oh, that's John's head. Sorry. Right. Okay.
No, I just suddenly looked at my hand and it's gone all black.
Oh, right.
I'm trying to work out what I've touched. That's covered in ink.
Oh, right. Okay, John.
Down at the cable I unplugged and plugged back in to make my camera work. And
you said already that
in black.
The MEPs wouldn't really get any much say in the European Parliament. No veto for a start. Is that correct?
Well, they'd have the same rights as every other MP.
Every other MP.
Because we haven't left.
I'm sure they said that Britain wasn't going to get a veto.
They can't do anything about it. We're still under the old rules.
Right. So to get a veto, has Britain itself got to say no, or is it the combined? Right. But is it the combined European Parliament members there that say no? When does Britain say no? Who's the head of Britain that says no? When you're not getting that.
Just a minute. Claire's saying Change UK is the party. Thank you, Claire. First of all, can I ask you a question? Can you hear John? John, can you say something?
Hello, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Right, okay. We had a bit of cross talk a moment ago, so I'm just double checking, given what's going on at the moment. As far as I know, we still, in Europe, we still have the same rights as we ever did. And these MEPs will have the same rights as the ones that are coming out of office.
I was reading up something about Juncker has said that they wouldn't get a lead or something like that, in committees and stuff like that, because you're going to be leaving anyway, you see. And I think they've looked into that. And said, you're going to be leaving. You might scupper things for us if you're leaving. I'll check that out, but that's what I'm led to believe,
Right.
And there was something about the veto as well. Because if they get a veto, we could just, how I'm trying to work out a veto is, we could go in there with all our members and say it's really anti-Brexit again. Say it's a Brexit party. They could veto everything. Everything. Say, no, we're not doing it. No, we're not doing it. We veto that. We veto that. And I don't think they'll let them get away with that.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see. Time will tell. We'll know on the 23rd. Right. Okay. Now, today, importantly, I'm going to bring the graphic up first so that we can all see it. today the Times has launched a new campaign called Clean Air for All.
Right.
And basically this is a campaign to reduce pollution in the UK, wherever it's coming from. And the Times has sort of started that today. And I think this is the beginning of a lot of changes with regards to industrial. Well, take cars for a start. We're heading towards not having diesel or petrol cars.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, I drive a diesel because the government made it advantageous to drive a diesel.
Correct. I've got 3 diesel vehicles on the road.
And now we're being punished for listening to government.
Punished.
Yeah.
And there's going to be cars lying all over the road when they run out of electricity. The motorways will be blocked because people will chance it and they'll run out of electricity in their cars, etc., etc.
But the current thing is that battery-driven cars produce more CO2 than a diesel.
And why is that? How does that occur?
Because of the way batteries are charged. They give off gas.
Okay, well, there you go. So, get on your bikes, that's what I say. Make people bike everywhere.
Okay. The main points are a new Clean Air Act to confer legal right to clean air for everybody, bans sales of new diesel and petrol cars from 2030, temporary traffic bans outside schools, I'll come back to that in a minute, extend pre-2016...
That is a joke. That is a joke.
I'll stop what I'm saying. What's the joke?
Traffic outside schools.
I see. He was wrong. He was wrong. Okay, Peter's going to come.
Gods have got rid of him.
Peter's going to come back and he's going to explain why temporary bans for traffic outside schools is a bad thing.
Ha ha ha. Okay. It's meant to be like that now. They've got zebra crossings with zigzags, and all the mothers and sometimes fathers are turning up with the little kiddies, and they're blocking the roads and they're stopping on zigzag lines. How on earth are they going to monitor it if they can't stop it now?
Well, we've got an experiment going on in Solihull that's just about to be converted into a permanent local ruling. We've actually got 10 schools where you can't go down the road during the half hour before and after the start and end of school in a vehicle.
Can I just read the paragraph to you? Then we know, because it relates to what John's just said. All vehicles except buses should be banned from roads beside schools for 45 to 60 minutes in the morning and again in the afternoon. The ban, which would not apply to main roads, can be enforced by automatic plate number recognition cameras. As well as improving air quality, more children will walk to school, reducing obesity, and there will be fewer road accidents.
It's been happening in Solihull for almost a year now at
Brilliant.
10 schools, and there's one fairly near me. And basically, unless you're a resident, you're not. There are no entry signs at both ends of the road for set hours. Either side, half an hour either side of the school start.
And how did they decide?
The automatic number, they police it with policemen and PCSOs on a random basis.
Good. Yeah, that's good. And has it been successful? As the kids getting fitter?
Yeah. There's also been a number of people threaten policemen and all sorts of things. It's their right to take their child to school in their car.
Yeah.
And they've had it nicely explained to them that it isn't their right.
Yeah. I know that there are some schools, I noticed in the paper, that they've got a big bicycle, what do they call it? All the kids meet en route, and there's adults there with yellow vests, and they all cycle, and you see the kids join on their bikes from different junctions, and kids join it. And it's like a conga of them, yeah. A caravan of kids on their bikes, and it looks good. It looks really good, you know. And yeah, it's very good. good to see it. Except if you live in a hilly place like me, that's different. Do you know, I see the kids, I look out my window in the morning and I see kids leaving at 8 o'clock in the morning to walk over to the school, which is quite far away. And I see them walking and back and forth every day.
Well, when I was at grammar school, it was 5 miles in each direction, and I walked every day.
Wow. Well, I didn't go to school. I was too lazy to get up. And I quite literally stayed in the bed.
I'm back now. When you say you didn't go to school, that cannot be totally true, Peter.
Do you know, I'm going to tell you funny. I used to live, I can tell you the address, 26 Cornhill Terrace in Aberdeen, which is now a big field next to the school I went to. It was prefabs. And I was always late for school. Couldn't get to bed in the morning. And I was one of those latchkey kids. When my mum says, right, off to school, see you later, she would go, and I would go back in and stay in the house until the school inspector came for me. and that's been I used to go down to the banks of the River Don instead. And it was the days of with school inspectors that used to go and buy.
Am I still here?
Yeah, you're here, but he's frozen.
He has, yeah, okay. Right, so Peter will be back in a moment, and it's time to change topic slightly. Well, Peter's back quickly, possibly. Now, this is an incredible story. Have either of you seen the pictures of what Stonehenge used to look like?
No.
Oh, okay.
Is this a stolen cause?
It's the missing part of Stonehenge has been returned 60 years later. The guy who's had it lives in the States. He's now turned 89, and it's his birthday his birthday round about now. And he decided to come clean and say, it was me what did it. And he's returned the stone to Stonehenge. And basically, when they were, I know this is heresy really, when they were rebuilding Stonehenge, which they did in 1957-58 to make it look like it does today, they had to drill. There's, the two uprights and a lintel across the top. In order to get one of them had fallen down completely. So they got the cranes in, this is 1958, and they got the stones upright and they put the top on, but they had a problem. And they had to bore holes in one of the stones, 3 holes, and that gave 3 plugs, as we know them. And it's one of those 3 that actually disappeared over to the States. And now that it's back, of course, it becomes possibly a way to find out more about the stone itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they put reinforcing rods in it, didn't they?
Yeah.
To stop it collapsing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you look at photographs of Stonehenge for the 20s and the 50s, it's not as iconic as it is now.
So this chap it took, is he getting done with theft?
I think the statute's up on that. I think he's come clean. He's given it back. I don't think they'll pursue him. What?
Was it theft anyway? Because he was employed by the company, and so he drilled it out. So didn't it become company property then?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'm jesting.
I would have charged them to let the youth of today know that you can still get caught. By the way, folks, this is my sense of humour. You don't have to take me serious. If you're listening in.
Right, okay, catching up with the comments because we've been busy chatting. Claire's saying double parking and parking on yellow lines outside schools at drop-off times frustrates.
Oh, yeah.
I've posted the link to the Solihull School drive ban as well. And story.
Well, do you know that one of the greatest pleasures I have, because I know a friend that's disabled, I watch YouTube videos of people getting caught on blue badge spaces. It just tickles me especially in America, one of the cities there where they fine them about $500 for using it incorrectly, and they fine them $500 for using a disabled bay, and then they take the ticket. Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. I just love it. And there should be big fines, enormous fines in the UK for people using blue badge spaces. It's absolutely terrible that young, fit people, and I've seen it, park in blue badge spaces. They should be hammered.
I challenged someone in Aldi the other day about the fact that he was probably 25 with his girlfriend, parked in the spot right by the door. All the other spots, disabled spots, were taken. He selfishly parked in there. And when I said to him, that's unreasonable to do that, I got told to F off. And the security guard came over, and the security guard got told to F off.
Hello?
So how do you deal with people
Am I
like
back?
For everybody who's watching, you never went, Peter, because John had the screen to himself. All right, okay.
Still frozen.
No.
You're not frozen, you were perfect.
All right, okay. Tish is saying, I'm just catching up with the comments, and we'll get Peter back first. Peter was recounting his school days, and Tish said, oh no, lol, Peter, bad boy. I think that's a few years late, isn't it, Pete, to actually be chastising you for not going to school?
Yeah.
No.
I was chastised then.
Kelly is commenting too. John has posted a link to the school driving ban. Tish and Kelly are having a chat. And, this is a rare, well, it's good. We say good morning to Mr. Kevin Arrow. Nothing they can do in private car parks.
Well, in Scotland they can, because I met a guy taking a picture of someone in a blue badge space, and I said, what are you doing, mate? He says, they're getting fined. He says, I take pictures, my job's to come around, and I work for a private car parking company, and my job's to take a picture. Now, if they pay the fine, I don't know. That's the problem, but it's one of those for parking in the wrong area.
Have you noticed that they tend to have a different colour on private property? They tend to be yellow lines.
All right, okay.
White.
Okay.
Right. And Claire's just given a reminder that not all disabled people have a visible disability.
That's correct.
So we can't always tell.
I've got a friend that's got that, and she gets a lot of hassle, you know, and a lot of hassle with using it. But she fights them and puts them in their place.
And we're back.
Our friend from Stoke's back.
Was that you moving your vehicle off at Double Yellows?
We've been talking about parking outside schools, Stephen.
Oh, right, okay. No, it was a customer.
We have Double Yellows added outside our house about 6 years ago.
Right.
We didn't want them. They said it would stop people parking. Outside our house and walking to the station, which is about 400, 500 yards away. If you parked outside our house, you would block the road. So the yellow lines are completely pointless because there's a pedestrian island.
Oh, there's a bit of breaking news. Sorry about that. Carry on. I'll tell you after, John. Beg your pardon.
Okay. And then one day my son parked his car on the pavement, and when he came out he had a ticket on it. However, they put the wrong address on the ticket, so we ended up fighting it and winning there. But it's a bloody inconvenience, to be honest, because it's along the road and no one has ever parked there and walked to the station because the road's too busy and they'd expect to come back find their car dinked.
Yeah.
Double yellow lines are a pain in the arse.
Peter.
Breaking news. Danny Baker, you know Danny Baker?
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's a talk. Is it talk?
Everywhere, talk radio.
He's just been fired
Again.
big time because he put up a picture of a chimp saying this is what Archie looks like or something similar. He's been immediately fired. Oh,
Well,
see?
yeah.
It's amazing. A tweet, a comment could cost you thousands of pounds.
True.
So
True.
that's the breaking news.
But it's not the first time that Mr. Baker has been in trouble, and he has a track record for being. What is it? First of all, he's a great presenter. Don't get that right. He is a superb presenter. He's got his own wacky way, which works well.
Apparently, it's interpreted as an insult to her racial heritage, and that's why he's been fired by the Beeb.
Right. Okay.
Or is it the Beeb? Is it the Beeb? Did he
He's
work for them?
BBC 5, yeah.
All right, okay.
He was on Radio 5, was he not?
Yeah, BBC Radio 5.
Radio
Right.
5, Saturday morning.
He'd already been sacked from Talk Radio. That was
Well,
ages
he didn't start for them. Well, he is a bit of an obnoxious person, you know, and
We're talking
yeah,
about the same person.
yes, all right. I remember what I remember about him. I just don't like the guy. I'm sorry if you're listening, Danny. I don't like you. That's what I tell you.
Right.
And anyway,
Okay.
he was filming in a place, a shopping centre, where he wasn't allowed to film inside, and he was so bad to the security guard that was asking him to leave very politely, you know. And it's private property. We don't want you filming here. Could you leave, please? Simple as that.
Right. I'm not totally sure we're talking about the same person, but
Yeah, Danny
Who is
Baker.
it, man?
Danny Baker.
right.
Danny
Okay.
Baker.
Now, we are going to be paying for the safer cladding of the tower blocks. The government did ask the owners of the tower blocks to do it. It's not happening, so it's been taken over by the government. I think that's a good thing. What say you?
I think it's a good thing, but those places like Solihull who went off and paid for it off their own bat, are they going to get any recompense? Every tower block was reclad in Solihull with a fireproof cladding.
Mm.
Is there anybody out there?
Yeah.
Stephen's gone blank. Peter set a trend
Stephen
here.
got up and walked out. He's coming back in now.
Blankety blank. Blankety blank.
Sorry.
Right, okay. Right, I'm trying to get a subject that we can all agree on. We're not doing well
What
this
was the
morning.
last one? What was the last one?
The last one was the Grenfell Tower and
What's the story? What's the story?
the government are going to pay for the recladding of the towers.
About time.
Thank you. I appreciate the not swearing bit.
Okay.
Now, you see, here's something, right? There's an act called the Pest Act 1949. If you don't get rid of the problem that you have, the local authority can come in and say, we're getting rid of the problem for you, and we're going to charge you for it. And that should be the same as the councils, etc., that weren't going to pay. The government said, hey, we're going to pay this, and we're going to deduct it from your bill when we put out the money to the local area, or whatever. What do they get when they get money for the government?
Okay.
It's like federal government giving you money and say, hey, we've paid the cladding, we're going to take it off your account. What do you think?
Kevin
Yeah,
just
well,
asked a good question, which is,
It is.
if Grenfell owned privately, that opens a whole bag of worms, especially at that bloody council, Kensington and Chelsea,
Mm-hmm.
with
Yeah.
the incompetence, corruption and things, allegedly. It's just a whole bag of worms. But as long as somebody's making those places safe to live in, that's a brilliant step forward.
Yeah. And Peter's it's musical chairs this morning. So thank you, Kevin, for the question. And Stephen has answered it. And Peter's playing yo-yos. And Try and bring Peter back. Okay, I've got a question for you guys. How I could know.
Hello?
How do you spell responsibility? It's not a trick question.
RESPONSIBILITY.
Good. You should be employed by the people who print Australia's banknotes. They on the Australian 50 Australian dollar note, they misspelled the word responsibility.
Oh my God, no.
It was in the small print on the bottom of the note, and it said it missed an I out, and responsibility was not spelt correctly, as a result of which there are 46 million $50 notes in circulation, all of the misspelling on them, and the government have said we're not going to do anything about it. We'll just carry on printing $50 notes, and eventually the ones that are out there will wear out, which is a low-cost way of doing it, I suppose.
But of course, they have plastic notes over there, so it's going to take a while to wear out.
Well, because there are 46 million of them, they'll have no extra value, will they, because of the misspelling? If there'd only been 5 of them instead of 46 million, then they'd have been worth a lot more than $50.
It's a big community, isn't it? Note collecting and coin collecting and stamp collecting.
Yeah, and Kevin's saying they're a bit down under over there, and Tish can spell responsibility too. So Tish, you could apply for a job in the Australian Mint, overseeing the text that goes on banknotes.
Would you be responsible for it?
No. I don't think so. Spell responsible. No. Yeah. So right. Okay. So we've done football. We've done Stonehenge. Done local elections. Right. Okay. And I hate to do this, but I've got to do it. There are 2 things I want to talk about. There is possibly, I'm glad we're all here, going to be a new referendum, possibly in quotes, which will, and everybody's head's gone down. We'll have 3 options. That's Mrs. May's option. Yeah. A leave without a deal, or remain. Those will be the 3 options. It's been an idea being floated at the moment.
Who by?
By our government. It was a kite flying exercise to see what people would think about it, and it was published in the Groniad and the Times, and that would be the question would be May's deal, leave without a deal, or stay. Okay. And on the heels of that, Brexit, Mrs. May's Brexit deal is due to return to Parliament either later this next week or the week after. You couldn't make it up. Hopefully somebody's right.
Why? Because chicken and egg comes in, doesn't it? I mean, where
There's no chicken and egg. 17.4 million. They might as well say, those that you voted out, stand there. Now, those that you went to make, go and slap them in the face. Take a slap at their faces, because that's what you've done to them. That's what you've done. You might as well, and I'll tell you, be careful what you wish for, because this country will change. This country, no, go on, stop my freedom of speech. Go on. Now, that's what's happened.
Yeah, Kevin said it'd be great to debate it. Will it ever happen?
Why is
We should leave, and we should see how it works out. And if it doesn't work out, then they can decide what they're going to do later. Just like we had to do when we went into the EEC and we were sucked into it by Edward Heath. And that's 2000.
Let's wind back to 2016. 52.1 to 48.9%. 47. We were distraught. We were sad. We woke up in the morning and thought, what that has happened? And now here we are 3 years later, and according to the latest poll, Peter, 62% would actually vote to remain.
It's because we've got a Remainer. There is as much Remainers who are so embarrassed that it's way it's went. They said that it was a democratic thing to do, and to hold it back is absolutely ridiculous. Piers Morgan's one of them. he says I voted out, but now he's saying we must go and do Brexit. This can never happen to this country again. Never, ever, ever
Peter,
ask for a referendum in this country. Never.
No, I missed the button. Okay, right.
Just a waste of money. £9 million
I'm changing
they
topic,
spent to
Peter.
tell us
It's
we were
safer.
leaving.
I'm changing
Single
topic.
union, customs union. I fully understood.
Can we talk about the pigeon? It's more interesting.
Okay, right.
Okay, let's talk about the pigeon.
That's my
John.
say.
Okay,
Have
John,
you
over
seen
to you.
the pigeon that got photographed by the speed camera because it was flying at 35 kilometers an hour in a 25-kilometer area?
No.
Well, we don't have kilometres for speed, John. So
Well, no,
yeah.
it's in Germany.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
It's called Bockholt. I probably pronounced it completely wrong, but I am sure Stephen can get that correctly pronounced for us. You've not seen the pictures. It's been all over the web.
No, I'm just really worried that Peter's not telling us how he feels about things. I think he's holding back.
That's it. In the last 8 minutes of the show,
I voted Remain.
oh dear.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. John's bowed head will not show
So there you
on
go.
the audio. Neither will Stephen's smile.
I'm going to vote yes for Scottish independence. I think
Where did that come from?
They're just winding each other up, Stephen.
Look, when they voted not to break up the United. No, I'm just saying when they voted not to break up the United Kingdom, the people of Scotland said no, I want to stay in the UK, and I was one of them, and we stayed in the UK. End of story. It's happened.
Yeah, but it hasn't kept wee Jimmy Cranky happy, has it?
No, she'll keep going at every opportunity, but
Therefore, it's not the end of the story.
It's never the end of the story. We all have a right to change our minds.
Party will always ask for independence from now until
You're doing it again, Pete. You're just giving me these gorgeous balls to whack away at.
No,
Right, speaking of cricket,
that's the aim in life to get Scottish independence.
that
and they will
cooled it.
keep going on it. I better go. Come off.
Well, it's not me, so who is it?
No, I stopped that as soon as I heard the. We said from cricket, Stephen, it was raining yesterday. Can't play cricket when it's raining. And talking of water, final topic for the day: climate change. England flood planners must prepare for the worst. And this is a serious situation because our coastal regions are under threat from rising water levels. And we know from when we do have floods in the UK, and we do get floods, money has not been spent on flood protection, on barriers, when it could have been. And these think tank are actually saying that we now need to get serious. John's laid back and he's in the Midlands, he's nowhere near the coast. Stephen's laid back, he's in Stoke, he's nowhere near the coast. And I'm in Wiltshire and I'm an hour from the coast. So it's not going to affect the three of us.
We have a climate emergency, mate. It is a fact. If you look outside my front window, you'll see a speed bump. I'm very grateful to the council to put a speed bump in right outside my house where people go above the speed limit and crash all over the place. But there's a puddle that arises every time there's rain and people get wet because drivers just aim for the puddle. So that's my climate emergency. I'm not sure what to do about it. I'm looking at the United Nations to send an ambassador to come and have a look at my puddle. And I'll keep you up to date with it.
If the puddle seeps into your garden, won't it rot the roots on your palm trees?
You're confusing realities, John. You're confusing realities. The reality I discuss most of the time is the beautiful sunny weather, the waves crashing against the beach and the palm trees with the coconuts at the top. Yeah, this is a different reality. But But don't belittle it, John. This is a global climate emergency outside my house. And what are they doing about it? Nothing.
Well, funny enough, just to the right of our drive is a sleeping policeman as well. And all the water used to collect above that because the road slopes down. And in the end, the council actually came and lifted the left-hand side of it and created an angled gully for the water to run through.
Right.
You're in Solly Hole, you see, you got a different response to climate emergency than Stoke. That's what I can say.
2 points from Claire, one of which is related to the flooding. If you're going to build on floodplains, you're prepared to get flooded. And a lot of councils still do give planning permission to build on floodplains. And even more pertinent, Claire lives on top of a cliff, so I'm okay until the cliff erodes back to my house. Now, finally, a most interesting point from Claire before I hand over to John. Well, that was interesting. Switched to my phone because Claire was actually going Groundhog Day and getting us starting the show. So she went to her phone and she started a watch party. Yeah, and that worked. But in addition to actually Claire watching, several other people joined in too. And that's where we've got our viewers from today. So thank you, Claire. That worked.
Not bad.
That's good. So parallel watch party does increase the viewership. So thank you, Claire. We've noticed that as we've been talking away, that the number of viewers has been higher than in recent weeks, which we're grateful. So thank you. And if you want to start another one next week, please do. Right. Okay. We're coming up to 10:58 and I'm going to hand over to Mr. John Upton in Solihull to close the show.
Okie doke. Well, based on today's discussion, I think we'll be putting a contract out to rebuild Adrian's wall so we can keep that blooming Scottish bloke away. And his never-ending rectangle. So, having had a great show today, it's going to be goodbye from us. So it's goodbye from him down there. That's the southwest. Him over there. That's Stoke-on-Trent, him right up there in Scotland, who we are going to build a wall to keep him out, and from me in the Midlands. So we'll see you all next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
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 Thanks for watching. That is